Mississippi River. Look at it in all its beauty. Cold outside. You see right there in one shot, you got a barge and a ship. The ship's going upriver. The barge is going downriver. I'm on the west bank of New Orleans, right across there. That's New Orleans. Look, that's the G&O Bridge. See that barge? That tugboat pushing them barges? That's how you make money as a convicted felon. You know how you make money as a convicted felon? By working on the Mississippi River in the oil and gas field. Like I said, being a convicted felon and finding a job is not an easy thing. But something I've learned living in the South and living in Louisiana, that if you're a convicted felon and if you're an ex-convict and you got a violent past or a crazy past and you just a roughneck, look at what's behind me. It's the Mississippi River. In the oil and gas field, there's no better way to make money as a felon or as an ex-convict than working in the oil and gas field. I'm telling you, I worked in the oil and gas field. Even when I was a teenager and I was getting in trouble and I had a juvenile record, my dad got me a job in the oil and gas field. I made money. I went back to prison. But when I got out of prison, I had a bunch of nickel and dime jobs. Yeah, I was a roofer, and that's what my dad taught me how to do roofing work. But I was never gonna, even after Hurricane Katrina, you know, you could hustle for a while, but eventually everybody got new roofs. But what I learned to do was get a job in the oil and gas field. That's right. So let me tell you what happened. I was working as a nonprofit trying to save the world because I felt like I had to do better in life because I had taken from society so much. You know, I spent 6 years in prison the last time, and I wasn't out less than a year from the first time I went to prison, which I spent 2 years in prison. And now I'm back on the street, and now my life has changed, and I'm a better man, and I don't want to do the stuff I used to do before. And what I'm doing now is I'm like, so what do I do to give back to society? So I did a lot of giving, you know what I mean? I was in a lot of ministries where we gave to a lot of people, and I used my time, my talents, and my efforts with rebuilding a lot of houses. And I worked for a nonprofit business in New Orleans. And you know, I'm married now, right? And so I'm trying to figure out my path in life, but I ain't making no money. So we living from paycheck to paycheck. And then I run into another dude who I grew up with, who I was also in prison with, a good partner of mine. And he says, say, bro, are you tired of trying to save the world? And I'm like, what you mean? He's like, man, I know you always trying to rebuild and give your time and efforts and trying to make the world a better place, doing your ministry, doing this and that. He said, but at some point, bro, you got to make money. He said, why don't you come work with me and I can get you some money? I said, all right, bro, what you doing? Well, he was in the oil and gas field, which I was already familiar with because I'm from Louisiana. And so I said, all right, what you got? I'm gonna come do an interview. So I went did an interview with him, and when I went did the interview, he said, look, he said, you know my charges. He said, they don't care about us being ex-convicts or felons. They don't care that we got violent past. They don't care that we were in gangs. They don't care that we did this and that. All they care about is they need somebody who they can rely on. And he said something that the oil and gas business has learned is that they can rely on ex-convicts. That's right. They can rely on ex-convicts showing up and doing the job. They can't rely on everyday people. One thing ex-convicts are is they hard working and they're gonna show up on time. You see, it's cold out here right now, but if you want to make money, you go work in the cold on that river right there. I worked for a long time on this Mississippi River. See all them boats that keep passing us up? I worked on all those boats. I worked on all them barges. See that there? I did all that. I worked on the barges. I made that money. You can make a lot of money as an ex-convict working in the oil and gas field. Listen, there's a little TV show on Netflix, I think it is, or Paramount. I don't know who puts it out, but it's from the same people who put out Yellowstone, and it's called Landman, and it's about the oil and gas field in Texas. You know, it's not necessarily about the oil and gas field on the bayou and on the Gulf of Mexico. It's more about the landman. You know, same thing, same concept, except it's on land. But the same thing they showing on that show goes down in the waters too, in the Gulf of Mexico. And so that's where you can make a lot of money. So what I'm saying is, if you're an ex-convict, man, do whatever you can to get a job on that water. If you're an ex-convict, do whatever you can to get a job in the oil and gas field. Get on the Mississippi River. And look, I'm in Louisiana, but the Mississippi River, it stretches all the way to Ohio, you know what I mean? Illinois. It goes all the way up through the country, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of opportunities. We sending dudes in the company that I used to work for, they were sending dudes up north to Illinois to do jobs that we started down here to follow the barge, right? Because the barges start right here. Look behind me, right there. Look at them ships and all them barges. They sending all that, right? That's going up north to coal. So we follow the jobs. They'll pay us. They pay us extra money to drive to 5 and 6 states up. They're going to pay you extra money. They will pay you just to get you in your truck driving on top of your salary. Then they're going to give you overtime. They're going to give you per diem, and they're going to give you mileage. You can't, that's not even counting the benefits in the 401k. Where else is an ex-con and a felon going to get that type of pay and that money, right? I went in, I started out, and in 90 days, I was already in Louisiana, and I'm going back over a decade ago. I was already making $25 an hour. Just that quick in 90 days. When I left out as an ex-con and a felon, you can say what you want, but I left out making about $45 an hour. Guaranteed pay. They ain't never been late on my checks. They always paid me. Where else is an ex-con going to get that type of money from than other than the oil and gas field? So I'm excited about sharing this information. Do whatever you got to do to get a job in the oil and gas field. And let me tell you something else. If you're going to get a job as an ex-felon and as ex-con, don't misrepresent the rest of us, right? Show up and be on time. Don't be a chump, man. Don't be scared of work. You know what I mean? You weren't scared to put in work, you know what I mean? And in Louisiana, in the prison system, you got to work in the field. They say slave labor. I don't like that term because we put ourselves there. Slaves are innocent people. So we put ourselves in the prison, but they still got where you got to work in the field in Louisiana. You're going to do hard labor inside the fields in Louisiana. But you can get, so if you could do that for free for the state, for working like 7 cents an hour, 4 cents an hour, you can come get $50, $60, $70 an hour possibly to work on the Mississippi River in the oil and gas field. That's right, they're going to pay you. They took care of me, never late on a check. Listen, the only reason I'm not in the oil and gas field right now, I retired, I stepped back, I hurt myself. But if I had to give anybody advice, I would tell them to go back. And look, you got to get your money right too. Save your money, invest your money so that you can set yourself up for future endeavors, right? Put in the 401k. The oil and gas field, they're going to match you. They're going to match 5 and 10% matches. Where you going to get that from? Exxon, Valero, you know what I mean? I'm talking about, these big companies. That you got to go and try to become somebody who's reliable in oil and gas and make money. And look, it's going to be even better now because Trump just took office. His whole motto is drill, baby, drill. If you an ex-con, I don't care what gang you was in, what set you was in, you should be supporting the oil and gas field. You should have your shirt on your beanie hat. Drill, baby, drill, baby, drill. You know why? Because ain't nobody else paying ex-convicts like the oil and gas field. I'm excited about the oil and gas field. I'm trying to share this with you. Ex-convicts, it don't matter. Look, you could be in Texas. They got a lot of opportunities in Texas, oil and gas. Look, Louisiana is #1 for oil and gas. So if you're living in Louisiana, if you live in Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, Florida, man, get in on that money. If you up in Illinois, man, and you know ex-gangbanger, man, get in on that money. Get on that water, man. Get on them ships. Listen, I'm going to show you in a minute because I'm not far from, I showed you behind me. This is the field, right? This is where you're working. You're going to work on them boats. But connected to this water is what they call shore tanks, right? It's a terminal where they're moving this product off these ships, right? You can see in the distance even more ships. Way back there in the distance, that's ships. So I'm going to show you in a second where the shore tanks are because there's a terminal right here. I used to work all the time. And I used to work on that terminal, and that's what the kind of stuff you're going to see. You can work on the terminals, you work on that oil because they got to put the oil inside the shore tanks, right? They got to move it through the pipes. You got oil, you got chemicals such as methanol, ethanol, toluene, you know what I mean? So all this different stuff, benzenes, and you're going to mess with this stuff and you're going to do it, and they're going to pay you to learn this stuff. They're going to pay you to travel and find and follow this stuff and this products. And look, it's all kind of stuff you could do. You could work as an inspector. You could work as a mechanic. You could work as a tankerman. You could work as an engineer. That's right. They'll pay convicts to become engineers as long as they show up and they're reliable. They just want people they can trust. They don't care who's doing the job. They don't care that you're an ex-gangster. They don't care you was a dope fiend. They don't care that you shanked somebody. They just want somebody to do the job. Just like on that show Landman, it's kind of real. Oil and gas is our friends, ex-convicts. And so I'm promoting, and I'm going to continue to promote it. I think oil and gas field is the best job for you to stack and make your money. when it comes to being an ex-convict. Anyway, I'm gonna go take this camera and I'm gonna show you the shore tank terminal. And I'm right now on the part of the river I am on the West Bank of New Orleans. Literally on my left and right of me, that's how big the oil and gas field is. There's literally a terminal to my left and right where I'm standing right now. So look, man, get out your own head, get online and see who's hiring in the oil and gas field right now. If you're an ex-convict, go get your money. Yeah, look at them. You see them boats right there? That's all tugboats. They on dock. Look, the sun's about to go down. It's as cold as it's gonna get in New Orleans right now. It might snow tonight. It might snow in the morning. But I promise you, you ain't gotta worry about work, because the oil and gas field, they don't shut down. They're gonna work in this. They work in hurricanes. They shut down. You make money nonstop. So I'm showing you that because the sun's going down and it's as cold as everything else is shutting down here in New Orleans, but not them tugboats. You know why? Because them billionaires ain't stopping moving their product. Right now they working on them boats. There you go. Look at that. That's called barges. You know what I mean? So they working on them now. You see all them lights on? People working out there now. Now I'm gonna go show you a picture of what they call a shore tank that connects to those barges and the pipes that go to it. Look, the sun's setting in New Orleans. They got Mardi Gras color lights on the bridge, but the oil and gas field's still gone. See, I'm walking. Look, I'm lifting up. Look at them barges. That's them barges. Look, see that in the distance? That blue and green? That's them shore tanks. They connected to pipes. You can hear sound of a motor in the background. Look, they got dudes on the barge right now. I'm gonna try to zoom in. Look, the dudes are working on the barge. Even right now, you can't see them. They on the side, they out the way. But I'm gonna catch them, hold on. They on there working on that boat. That's the barge. Let's see if we can catch them. I just saw them. Look, you see that light? They got a light. Sun's gonna go down. They pumping that oil. Look at the dude moving. You see him? In between the pylons with a life jacket on. You could be right there making that money. You know what I mean? You're trying to figure it out. Popeyes will pay you a little bit. Look at in between the thing. It's that dude making that money. Look, you gonna walk. They hidden. They working on one of them. On them barges, I worked on the barges a lot. There's tanks on them barges. They looking inside one of the tanks, probably seeing how much product's going in, measuring it. And so that's what they're doing. That's a tanker man and inspector. And so that they working on that right now. Look at that. Look at them Mardi Gras colors on the bridge. Go ahead. I'm gonna swing it around. I'm gonna swing it around. Look, we walking up on them shore tanks. That's them shore tanks. You work on that, you make money. Find a way to get on top of them shore tanks, ex-convicts. You hear me, fellas? Do what you gotta do, but get on top of them shore tanks and get your money. Look, I don't know this for certain, but see that car right there? I bet you that car is somebody's car who right behind me as I pan around. Yeah, right here. They went through that gate and they're working on that barge, that one I just showed you a few seconds ago. They're working on that barge, making that money. That's right. They're probably getting time and a half. Plus it's cold too. They might be getting extra money. Dude might be making $80 an hour for the rest of the night. That's the type of money you can make as an ex-convict. That's why I'm trying to encourage you, ex-cons, right? Get in the oil and gas field. Do whatever you got to do. I'm going to say oil and gas 100 times because I believe in oil and gas field. Look at, see these short tanks right here? That's them. You work on top of them. Don't matter. Look at that. See that oil? That means because it overflowed. That oil right there? Right there. You see it? It overflowed. It poured over. You don't want to be the guy who made that mistake. That's when they might make you lose your job. You know, if it's on you, you gotta, do what you gotta do. You gotta be the best employee. Don't make that mistake. But look, I'm gonna spin it around. Look right behind me. See them dudes walking on that barge? Where they at? Look right there. You see them walking? Right there in the corner, look at them. They're walking on that barge. They're working back there. I did that for a lot of years, made a lot of money. I'm trying to encourage you right now. Again, see that red car? You park your car. They pay you to park your car, then you go make your money. Just like this barge right here. I'm gonna swing the thing around. There go the barge. I don't know if you can hear it, but the motor's on right now. You can see it through there, crane. They got pipes and all hooked up. There's the dock, right? You go on that barge, and you can make your money. And what they doing is, they taking product from these tanks, and they pumping it from these tanks, and it's going, see all them pipes running through? They're running through the pipes. See the pipes right there? They're coming through the pipes, going to the barges, and they're loading them barges, or they unloading the barges. And that's how you make your money. And look at that. Look, and you could be working out here. It's cold, you know, but look at that. You got the Crescent City connection, and it's lit up in Mardi Gras colors, you know, because it's carnival time in New Orleans. I don't necessarily involve myself in celebrating that, except I might eat a piece of king cake here and there. I don't partake in it, but I do admit that the colors of Mardi Gras are pretty, and you can see the bridge lit up, and it's a beautiful scene on the Mississippi River. As an ex-convict, you can travel too, and you could be a part of this, and you can make money traveling. They'll pay you to travel. Look, I think I've said all I can say. I might show you a few more spots, you know, and I'll do more videos on this, but this was me just on a whim, trying to encourage anybody who's an ex-felon to do what you can to get a job in the oil and gas field. Look, thanks for watching. If you like anything crime and prison related, why don't you give it the Pen and the Shank a like and subscribe. I'm a small YouTube channel, up and coming, man. I got a passion. If you want to see somebody who's passionate, I'm the person, you know. I just come off top of my head a lot, you know, but there's a lot of original content that I got. Go watch some of my videos. Some of it's really creative. I got everything from prison nicknames to all kind of stuff that goes down in Louisiana prisons. But right now, a lot of people have been asking about how to get employment as an ex-convict. And I'm telling you, the #1 employment as an ex-convict is the oil and gas field. You know what? Give me a like and subscribe. Thanks. Look, you see those two workers right there? They're working on the barges. That's right. That's probably an inspector and a tankerman, or a deckhand and a tankerman, just talking as the job pumps. And it might take the job that they're working on, it could take anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. Depending if something goes wrong, it could take days, and they'll get paid the entire time. And you see that right there? That's the beautiful bridge of New Orleans, and this is the Mississippi River, the best friend of ex-convicts. Man, give me a like and subscribe. The Pen and the Shank.